अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मद्ब्रह्मगुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मत्सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री लक्ष्मी हयवदन परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री स्याभवत्पत्तजनाभ्यहं तव पितृत्वमन्वेष्य विचार्य दुर्णं सम्भेवतारः तवननिरभ्यं लक्ष्मी नृसिंहं शरणं प्रपद्ये. Sorry for the wait. Can you hear me well?
Yes, Becky.
Very good. So we'll continue after a long time. Couple of things. See, I have a very tough job at this point. The reason is, what I'm doing is, here in the verse Pratibodha Viditam Amṛtam Amṛtatvam hi vindate verse, my grandfather's goes even beyond Uttamurvi Raghavacharya and brings up his original view here. That is please mute, Champaka Mami, mute yourself so that no background noise is heard. So
you're doing Krishna now?
You're not muted. Please mute yourself.
No, I'm asking you, how are you now?
Oh, I'm getting better. Jet lag is still there, so getting better. No problem. So what is happening here is, I have to validate, understand why my grandfathers even deviate and bring some new view, even beyond Uttamurvi Raghavacharya. Even though Uttamurvi Raghavacharya has hinted about this, but he has not given explanations like my grandfather, right? So my grandfather is connecting a lot more and bringing a lot of meaning out of Īśāvāśyopaniṣad into Kena Upaniṣad. Like, you build a foundation from Īśāvāśyopaniṣad and specifically say why to understand an upper level information from Kena Upaniṣad, you need the foundation right below it. There is a basement, a foundation. If you don't understand that, the upper block is not going to stand. The concept will not be clear. So he goes in that methodology, and I don't think any other person takes that idea fundamentally. So this is very unique. And whenever something unique comes, my first thing which comes to my mind is, why is my grandfather right? He may be wrong. So in my mind, I will have to go through so much of validations to see whether it fits in, whether it is right? And it's still going on. Nothing is complete. So you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not taking a partial view that my grandfather said something and that's original and that's very unique. I'm not saying that. In the sense that I'm validating that in every lecture. But it has been very difficult for me, but also very interesting for me. Okay. That's why we continue. Here today, if you have time, please give me some extra time today, because there are some 40 slides. And I want to, if I break the class from between today and tomorrow, again, I'll have to build a connectivity to yesterday's class, and you will not find that connecting the entire meaning which my grandfather is trying to say. So that becomes unfortunate. So if you can give me a few minutes extra today, we may use tomorrow's class for just clarification or something, or even take up next few verses of the Kena Upaniṣad, right? That's how I plan.
Tomorrow is Sunday, so we can all give you time today.
Anyways, tomorrow is Sunday, and we will have only 45 minutes max. That's true. So why don't we finish the main idea here, or try to finish 45 slides, something like that. I'll try to rush through some of them, but if I rush through everything, it's going to be tough for you to understand, because it's taking me a lot to understand what my grandfather is trying to say. So bear with me. Okay. Let me share the PowerPoint. Just a second. I guess now you can see my slides, right? Hello? Can you see my slides and hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So this is Kena Upaniṣad. I'm just making this available to you so that you know this is the first khanda of Kena Upaniṣad. We have finished this. In the second khanda, we are coming to the verse 4. Pratibodha viditam matam amrtatvam hi vindate atmana vindate vedyam vidyaya vindate Amṛtam. Here, notice that matam amrtatvam he is there. There is also another version called Amṛtam amrtatvam hi vindate. So that version is preferable to the Viśiṣṭādvaita view. I don't know why there are two versions of Kena Upaniṣad. I have not done research on that, but even Uttamur Veeraragavachar has mentioned Matam Amrtatvam is one version, Amṛtam Amrtatvam is another version, and he prefers that. Okay, that's this is the Dvitiya Khanda. In the Dvitiya Khanda, except the last shloka, we'll try to finish the fourth shloka today. So these are the two verses we are going to focus. Mainly this 2.4 is what we are focusing on. Now, to understand that, we have to understand Upāsanā. Where is Upāsanā explained? From 9 to 18, Upāsanā. So 9 to 11 is Vidyā, 12 to 14 is Ahaṅgrahopāsanā, 15 to 18 is again Vidyā continuation. So Vidyā continuation with the process of surrender. These aspects are in the Īśāvāśyopaniṣad, and this we will go through. Okay, so immediately in the last class, we were talking, just to get the connection between the last class, right? We were talking about Sampatanga's criticism that the meditating ego, though immediate, it's still illusory for Śaṅkarāchārya, right? And his view of Upāsanā is like basically deleting the personal God, who is illusory, or thinking that my ego is same as the personal God, right? So this view is not supported in the Īśāvāśyopaniṣad properly, and half or more of the Śaṅkara Bhashya and the Īśāvāśyopaniṣad does not even refer to Isha, the main topic of Īśāvāśyopaniṣad. That is interesting. And so he says the process of Upāsanā in Śaṅkara Bhashya does not follow Upanishadic principles properly. So he is using his own view of Upāsanā as opposed to what is suggested in the original text of the Īśāvāśya and Kena Upaniṣad. So that's what his views are so far. See, this, he takes a strong view. And the same thing is, even though Uttamur Swami and Rangaramanuja Bhashya and all, they understand this and they take the same view, but the stress given by my grandfather is quite powerful. So what is the alternative to Śaṅkara Bhashya and the Upāsanā suggested by Śaṅkarāchārya is the ego should purify itself. See, there is a Jīvātma which cannot be deleted. That does not die. This Jīvātma is also Amṛta. So Jīvātma, only what you can say is ego should be purified. Then the Atman becomes full consciousness, ready to realize God. Okay. So in this, you go back to the later verses of Īśāvāśyopaniṣad, which says Vāyur anilam Amṛtam atha bhasmantam shariram. Here, what is the nature of Jīvātma and how the Jīvātma passes through spiritual progress is explained. And here, self submits to God. And the crucial condition here is, there's a very important point here. Submission occurs only after knowing itself through three processes of Upāsanā. The three processes of Upāsanā are Asamvit, Sambhūti, and Vidyā, that we talked about in the last class. So so the real surrender occurs only then. This is an amazing point here, because there is a concept of Prappatti in Sri Vaishnava practices, right? That is, a person thinks that, okay, here that person needs moksha, and there is no other way other than Sriman Narayana who can help him. So they approach an acharya and formally do a ritual called Prappatti or Bharanyasa. In that process, acharya helps the aspirant by offering the aspirant's Jīvātma and surrendering it to Sriman Narayana. So this is the process. But this process cannot, according to Īśāvāśyopaniṣad, can happen really completely only after realization. So the Prappatti done in the ritual manner in the Sri Vaishnava practices is a Prappatti, but the Prappatti Siddhi or the real realization occurs only when somebody goes through this kind of realization. We can explain this later, but what do you call it? For now, just take it as it is. Now this is about the Upāsaka. The Upāsaka realizes Vayu. What does it Vayu here means? Jīvātma is in a fluid condition of going between one place to the other, forced by karma actions, the previous actions, the present actions, and Vidyā, knowledge, whatever knowledge a person achieves. So the person has to go to body to body to body also, and in every body guided by two forces, karma and Vidyā. This is how the Jīvātma moves. Anila means it does not have a definite place. Jīvātma is looking for something solid, a place to stand. And here in this process of Upāsanā, Jīvātma realizes that I don't have any place other than God to stand. Ishvara is my refuge. Ishvara is the only place I can stand because I have nothing else. This is a very powerful realization. The realization is not just knowledge. Oh, I read it in the book, I know it. No, not that. This becomes an actual reality, eternally, inextricably attached to us. And the person realizes, sees. Realizing means if I look at a flame, it is just sight. If I know about a flame using a book saying that okay, flame can burn a forest, that is only textbook knowledge. If a person is inside the forest and the flame is engulfing and then a person realizes the heat, that is realization. So here, actual realization occurs. Just not knowing. And continuously, every moment, the realization is there. So anila means the person loses all what he thinks that it is safe for him. People think that they built a very good home. They sit in the home and say, I am safe. Okay. What is the safety? It is just safety against cold air, storm, rain, and things like that. And maybe wild animals. People think that is the home, but that is a temporary home. If the body goes away, you need to find another home like that for another body. But in this anila situation, the yogi realizes that I have only one home, that is God. And even starts seeing it. He gets a feeling of what that God is. How? Because he has gone through the process of realization of Sambhūti, Sambhūti, and Vidyā. Then now Amṛtam, he realizes that he is an immutable substance. He is not an ego that goes away. For Śaṅkarāchārya, Jiva is just a reference. Jiva is just combination of the Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira, and things like that. And there is a consciousness reflected in it. Parabrahma, Brahman's reflection on it. And that is imaginary because the reflection goes away just like the reflection Ishvara goes away. That's how Śaṅkarāchārya takes. what do you call here Amṛtam means immutable substance, cannot change, cannot die. So Jiva is immutable also. And Paramatma is also immutable. Here the prayer is towards Paramatma and say, please remember what I have done. What have I done? The three processes of Upāsanā. That is Asamvit, Sambhūti and Vidyā. Now, so what is the Asamvit? It is Achit Shariraka Paramatma Upāsanā. That is, he is the power behind this cosmos. And then the Sambhūti is the Chit Shariraka Paramatma Upāsanā. He is the power behind all living beings, all Jīvātmas. And the final is Vidyā. That Vidyā is, he is the power behind me. I cannot exist without him. That realization, that is real, not just knowledge, realization. That's what is the third one. So the first is Asambhuti, we already explained, we don't want to go into it. And Asambhuti, Sambhuti together is known as Ahaṅgrahopāsanā. And after Ahaṅgrahopāsanā, the Upāsanā is on the God, and that is the final meditation on God's qualities. And the God's qualities are in the different Upanishads. Here some qualities are explained in the Īśāvāśyopaniṣad and Kena Upaniṣad. So the Upāsanā is meditation on the qualities of God. You cannot hold on to God, but you have to hold on to the qualities of the God. That is easier for anybody. Thing is, in Nammayavar's Pasharam, he says, Vidyā. So first thing is that Brahman deserves to be served. Look at how they define Brahman. Brahman deserves to be served because he is the power behind you. He is making you breathe, think, eat, understand, perceive, experience joy, or whatever. So he deserves to be meditated upon and served. So think is some of these gunas are there. There are other gunas, like even if you forget him, he will not forget you. He will always guide you. Because this life is not about for you to build a 10-bedroom home and have an extra swimming pool or somewhere there. It is to realize him. Because he has given this arena for you to realize. So the universe is a university of education for you, for you to graduate from material bondage to eternal freedom in front of Paramatma, that is with Paramatma. So the qualities of Paramatma is discussed in the Īśāvāśyopaniṣad up to 8 shlokas, right? And such a person holds Jīvātman. That is, he will catch hold of Jīvātman, graha, right? That's what is known as Ahaṅgrahopāsanā. I told you that this is explained also in the Āraṇyaka. Tvam va ahamasmi bhagavo devate, aham va tvamasi bhagavo devate. This was explained earlier. We will explain some more details. I already found out where these two statements come up. It comes in the Aitareya Āraṇyaka, chapter 2. So I will go into details later. So here the meaning is, you are indeed I, O Lord, O deity. Aham va tvamasi bhagavo devate means I am indeed you, O Lord, O deity. That's what it means. We'll go into the detail later. This is where it is. The Āraṇyaka 2.1.2, thanks to ChatGPT, I found this Āraṇyaka. Tvamva aham asmi bhagavaha is the identity with the Purusha in the sun. There is some kind of a discussion between the teacher and the student in that Āraṇyaka. Asahocha atha ataha samuddharaha yadetat अस्मत् पूर्वे प्राजापत्यं ब्रह्मोपासते तदहं ब्रह्मवादिनोऽस्मि ब्रूयाम् आदित्यमेवेते ते ब्रह्मोपास्व इति तं प्रतिपेदे. Oh, meditate on Surya or Aditya as Brahman. That's what the teacher says that. So how do you meditate? Says Tvam va ahamasmi bhagavaha aham va tvamasi bhagavan. You are me, I am you. Yatheva ayam bhavati tataham bhavami. Like how the sun becomes, I become the same. Asavaditya Purusha Ahamasmi. The Purusha inside the sun is who I am. Ahamba Asavaditya Purusha. I am that Purusha in the sun, and that Purusha, that the person inside the sun is the same one who is in everyone in this universe. Tasmadetat Brahmopasita. This is how the Brahma Upāsanā is said in an Āraṇyaka. Āraṇyaka comes prior to the Upanishads. Āraṇyaka are most like, it's almost like a karma kanda only. This is in the Aitareya Āraṇyaka. Advaita views this differently. It says, Purusha in the sun is just a point. So the conscious is in the teacher, the consciousness in the disciple is the one and the same. Everything is one indivisible, all-pervading Atman, the witness Sakshi, beyond all names and forms. Upāsanā dissolves into jnana. Once you Upāsanā is just basically it will just go away. And what happens in the dissolution stage? There is no I, there is no teacher, there is no son. Everything is one. That is the idea of Upāsanā in the Advaita view, and that's exactly what Sampath says. That's not the right view according to the Upanishads. Viśiṣṭādvaita view is Jiva, the teacher, and the son are distinct but inseparable, connected through the Lord's indwelling presence. He is the Antaryami, the inner controller. Through the inner controller, we are all connected. I hope you are listening and you can hear me well, right? There is no disturbance? Everything okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I am you expresses devotional identity, not absolute identity. The person in the sun is Narayana, not the Jiva. The Jiva's declaration reflects surrender and alignment, not metaphysical unity, but we are one in mind, one in ideology. Surrender is I am with you. I have no other personal agenda other than you. So Upanishad teaches Upāsanā Narayana as Antaryami. He is the self within all of us, controlling every one of us, leading to proximity, not oneness. So we will go closer and closer to him, not that we will become one with him completely, like the Advaita people say, or the Advaita view says. Thus, Viśiṣṭādvaita treats this passage as an example of Upāsanā-based identification, Tādatmya, not sūrupa identity, abheda. Sūrupa means there is no two substance, only one substance. That's not the way Viśiṣṭādvaita looks at. He says we are so far now because I am not communicating with you now in this kind of bondage. When I go beyond my mind and go through all the processes of spiritual evolution in the Asamvit, Sambhūti, and Vidyā stages, I see the identification, you powering us, and constantly I have the vision of you. And that is identity of a different kind, which is oneness of identification, not one substance. So, Sampath gives some Panini explanations. We don't have to go into depth. As you know, all these are very deep information, very detailed. If you look at Uttamur Swami's book on it, there's so many pages. So we have to somehow condense and try to get the idea. That's the main point. I hope I'm not boring you with so much details, and try to get some idea, right? Okay. So what is the mood in the Kena Upaniṣad? There's a very important point, and Sampath reminds us. In the Kena Upaniṣad, the mood is you and I are one, and that mood is not there because look at the teacher addresses the difficulty of knowing God, right? In the verse 1-3, na vijani maha, we do not know how to instruct. one about it. Mimamsameva tate. It is something that must be investigated, pondered, because it's something beyond our reach. Okay, why? Clearly it says, right? Na tatra chakshurgacchati, na vaggacchati, no manaha. This is the Kena Upaniṣad. Na vidmo, na vijanimo, yatha etad anushishyat. Teacher's view. That means my eye cannot see Brahman. My speech cannot understand Brahman. My mind cannot perceive Brahman. My speech cannot talk about Brahman. I cannot, through any senses, perceive Brahman. That's the teacher's view. And then, Mimamsa mevate. The teacher says in the next verse, what do you call, if you think you know it well, you know very little of Brahman. Whatever you have learned in the among the devas and within you or whatever, that is all very limited. So you have to think and contemplate on this a lot more to know exactly who Brahman is. So right before the Pratibodha Viditam, we have all these verses which shows the inability of teacher to understand Brahman or completely explain Brahman, how that Brahman is, because Brahman is an infinite entity. So that is the mode. So teacher clarifies the meaning, says, Avijñātam, unknown to those who think they know. Vijñātam, known to those who think they do not know. So these are all important things to understand before you go clearly clarify what exactly Pratibodha means, right? For Śaṅkarāchārya, Vijnāna means process of identity, non-duality only. And here says the context does not allow it. God cannot be fully known by Vijnāna. If Vijnāna implies finite intellectual grasp, here Vijnāna means Vidyā. The Vidyā is what is explained in the Īśāvāśyopaniṣad. In the term Vidyā is explained there in detail. That is the third stage of Upāsanā. Right? That is, after the two stages, the third stage, that is the Swatma Sharirika Paramatma Upāsanā, is Vidyā. Right? Vidyā means, Swatma means one's own self. You are powering everything. Nothing works without you in me. I can't even think of me because I have to only think about you, because you are the power behind me. So you forget everything in this universe but only Brahman. That is the state. Think how such a person lives like that. It's not an easy realization. Our mind goes from here and there and here and there because our mind is searching for something better. But actually, Parabrahman is sitting right within you. And if your focus is completely focused on the Brahman within you, you cannot think of anything else because you get attracted by the power and bliss of Brahman. So here in this Upāsanā, you are thinking that you are just the body and he is the power behind you. That is the Paramatma Upāsanā. And but there is a distinction between body and soul here. And even in the highest realization, there is a seer and a seen. But there is a oneness too. So in the Pratibodha verse, what Sampatanga reminds us is keeping the mood of the Upanishad. You have to remember that grace is important and the divine grace is indispensable. And divine grace is indispensable for any of these three processes, even for your reason to work. Today, you say, I can reason out, I don't need anybody, I passed my exams, I finished my PhD, all those things you can say. But while you're doing PhD, somebody was beating your heart, somebody was making sure all your synapses in your brain were connecting, your thoughts were working. You did not design your thoughts. So we have to understand divine grace is happening every moment. Pratibodha, here comes the real me of the actual verse we are coming right now. Pratibodha viditam matam amrtatvam hi vindate. So Uttamur says matam amrtam. So this second version is Pratibodha viditam amrtam amrtatvam hi vindate. This is the verse preferable to Uttamur Swami and our Viśiṣṭādvaita. Here, Pratibodha is counter thought. Bodha is awareness, right? Similar to Pratyupakara. Pratyupakara means somebody does something and in return somebody helps him out, right? That is Pratyupakara. So Pratibodha is thought, and counter to that there is a thought. What is the counter thought here? Counter thought to the work done by the individual. What is the work done by the individual? The three processes. First of all, reasoning out, and then three processes of Ahagraha Upāsanā, two processes, and one Vidyā. So totally three processes of meditation. And that is what somebody has done. And so in the first process, realizing that Atman is different from body or the cosmos. Look, body is similar, is basically our body is made of cosmos. We are star material, right? The second thing is realizing Atman is different from God. Here Atma is Jīvātman here, right? Jīvātman is different from God. So this happens through Ahagraha Upāsanā. Now, knowing that the Paramatma is the power behind the cosmos, self, your body and yourself, you become assignable to the eternal service of God, achieved by Vijnana in the step 3. So, the Vijnana is Swatma Shariraka Paramatma Upāsanā. That is, Paramatma is the Antaryami of our that is, Paramatma is my Antaryami. Here, look back at the verse. Atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindyate amṛtam. 1 second. One second. I'm not able to go back. Oh yeah. Pratibodha viditam matam amṛtatvam hi vindate is the first sentence. Next sentence is Atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindyate amṛtam. Right? So think of Pratibodha viditam amṛtam amṛtatvam hi vindate. We will come back to this. Okay. What exactly is counter thought? We'll come back to it. So we just know now is Pratibodhena viditam. By Pratibodha, this Amṛtam, that is Parabrahman, is understood. Amṛtatvam hi vidyate. He attains Amṛtatva. He knows Amṛta, that is Paramatma, and he is also Amṛta because he is not mutable, and then he will get Amṛtatva. That is the meaning. So what does this different things mean? That we will come to that later. Let's take a simple meaning of the next sentence now. Atmana vindate vidyam vidyaya vindate amṛtam. Here Atma means Paramatma. Paramatma gives virya as a vigor. Vidyaya vindate amṛtam. From Vidya, one gets Amṛta. This is the final state of immutability. So, because the immutability is explained in different stages, everything is known as immutable, Amṛta. But we will come to the definition. Amṛtatva is the inseparable qualification of becoming immutable. This refers to a quality or state of the self. Amṛtam means substance that transgresses death. It says there is no return to this life of entanglement, of cycle of births and deaths. Mritihi yasya nasti iti tat amṛtam. There is no death to it, so that is Amṛtam, deathless state. And Jīvātman itself is deathless. And Paramatma is also deathless. Okay. See, in the Vishnu Purana, that is Sampatangar states a reference to Vishnu Purana. Yoginam Amṛtam sthanam swatma santoshakarakam navasantam samayantam namami harim avyayam. Here clearly, Yoginam Amṛtam sthanam. You are the eternal abode of immutability. Amṛta is beyond death. So even Paramatma himself, Hari is known as Amṛta here. So you are the place of immutability, Amṛtam, of yogis, in which self enjoys bliss in it. Swatma santosha karakam, where we don't enjoy bliss in this state. Only when we meet you, who is the abode, there we find the bliss of ourselves. You are the immortal abode of the yogins and the source of contentment for inmost self, for the innermost self. That source of contentment here is bliss. You appear ever fresh and ever new. To hurry the undecaying one, I bow. That is the whole verse. So Amṛtam is inherent bliss given by Paramatma in a way. Amṛtatvam hi vindate means, so Paramatma gives Atmana vindate viryam. Paramatma gives the vigor. And with the vigor, you can get Amṛtatva or the final bliss. There are three Amṛtas here. Okay. First thing is Pratibodha viditam Amṛtam, Amṛtatvam hi vindate, Atmana vindate viryam, Vidyā vindate Amṛtam. There are three Amṛtas here. Pratibodha viditam Amṛtam, Amṛtatvam hi vindate. So Pratibodha is the Amṛtatva is attained by Pratibodha. Pratibodhena viditam. We already talked about it. Counter thought or awakening. So this is eternal bliss given by Paramatma. What is this Pratibodha? We'll go further. So Paramatma is the source of vigor. Self realizes itself through Upāsanā and then gets the vigor from Paramatma. So only when he meditates through the Upāsanā stages, the Paramatma gives him the vigor. Because Atmana vindate viryam. And only when the vigor is given by Paramatma, a Jīvātma becomes Kshetrajña, the knower of the field. Because the whole field that includes cosmos, including self, everything. When you know truly who you are, you become Kshetrajña, the knower of the field. That is explained in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So Īśāvāśyopaniṣad specifically talks about this. Isha is the ruler. That is the verse number 1. Until verse number 2, the Isha is Atma, which is the power behind everything. Omniscient, omnipotent, and almost undefinable. So the sequence is intentional to establish the relationship between the controller and the controlled. We are the controlled. So the progression is like this. Vayu, anila, amrta. The present verse adds a crucial dimension, bliss through Pratibodha. Vayu, anilam, amrtam is the first, what the aspirant does, achieves. But what is given to him is Pratibodha, bliss through Pratibodha. So succession is, immutability is Amṛtam, and blissfulness is Amṛtatvam, are not the same. They are successive stages. Amṛtam Amṛtatvam hi vindate. Amrta gets Amṛtatva. That means the Amṛtatva is a higher level of bliss. So the Amrta or state of poise or peace is attained after self-realization. And from this foundation of peace, Amṛtam, the soul moves towards dynamic eternal bliss called Amṛtatvam, granted by the divine. So Samadhi in the Viśiṣṭādvaita view, as per Sampatanga, is not just a perception of self-awareness. Samadhi is an eternal, that is, aperceptiveness or aparoksha is an eternal associate quality of both Jīvātman and Paramatma. Both have aparoksha. Both know themselves immediately. So this aparoksha does not begin or end. It is inherent. That is the difference in Viśiṣṭādvaita as opposed to Advaita. So pratyaktva means going inward. So pratyaktva is going inward, and you will only know yourself as intelligence. Paramatma's pratyaktva is different from Jīvātman. Paramatma also knows himself. We also know ourselves. But Paramatma's knowing includes enjoyment of bliss all the time. We don't enjoy bliss all the time. because our intelligence is limited. And hence, Jīvātma is known as Pratyak Chetana. So this term Pratyak Chetana always refers to Jīvātma, and it is supported in the later Upanishads, and that's what Sampatanga reminds us. In Śaṅkarāchārya's view, Pratyagatma is the term used for God, and that is explained in the second chapter 261, and many other places also. For Śaṅkarāchārya, the individual self is mere ego, and so upon the adopting the process of identity through meditation, the ego vanishes, leaving only the divine self, and even Paramatma vanishes because there is no need, and Paramatma sublates into Atman only, which is nirguna, which has no characteristics or attributes. So Ramanujacharya's view is different, and Sampatanga believes that he is following the Upanishadic prescription properly and the distinct stages. Now comes the fourth stage, right? The current Upanishad intimates the stages. The fourth stage is also coming up. What does it mean? So again, go back to Śaṅkarāchārya's view just for a contrast. Pratibodha in Śaṅkara Bhashya is Bodha is Buddhi, intellect. Pratibodha means Buddhi Sakshittvena Viditam. That means knowing knowing self as a witness of all the intellect cognitions. That is, every time you cognize anything, there is Atman behind it. There is Atman behind it. So the thing is, he takes that in this way. So Pratibodha is like every cognition, like Pratipurusha, everybody, everyone, right? So the self is a witness of each mental act or cognition. The opposing view, Śaṅkarāchārya, obviously Sampatanga rejects Śaṅkarāchārya's view here and says the word viditam should be taken as Pratibodha viditam, Pratibodhena viditam. Only through Pratibodha it is known. So what does this Pratibodha mean? Let us go further. He slowly derives the meaning here, right? Bodha means knowledge by wakefulness. See what happens to us? We wake up, right? But when we focus on things, meditate or do anything, we get exhausted. And we can even go into dream or sleep states. So we keep on rotating between dream sleep state, and awakeness. And in the awakeness, you are able to meditate. But in the sleep and dream, you are not able to meditate. But our exhaustion is very normal. Every day we get exhausted. That is the continuous state of problem we are in, and that is Bodha. And Pratibodha means it is, one second. Pratibodha means counter, help, in a reaction to the aspirant's activities of Upāsanā. He gives you a present. What is the present? Vigor. It is so Pratibodha is in contrast to the ordinary wakefulness. The ordinary wakefulness will go into exhaustion and go into dream and sleep states. But here, God gives you the power not to go into that, and he gives you a different kind of cognition. What is that? Viryā, vigor. First he gives vigor or strength. And this Pratibodha is inexhaustible awareness. So look at how Pratibodha is defined here. Inexhaustible awareness. He will clarify it further. Okay. The process of yogi surrender and meditation is inbuilt in the Īśāvāśyopaniṣad. Okay. Yogi withdraws into samadhi. He meditates as a suppliant one, surrendering to God. Right? Kritosmana kritam namavuktim vidhema agnenaya sapataraye asmane. In that namavuktim vidhema is the final thing, right? We offer our obeisances. We fall at your feet. We completely offer ourselves to you. That is surrender. And the method is Svatma Sharirika Paramatma Upāsanā, meditating on the Supreme Soul as having one's own self as his body. So this divine blessing extends the samadhi. So the samadhi does not lose the power because samadhi is given virya or vigor. So the resulting state is final state of Pratibodha, not as a trance, but as a specific type of wakefulness. So such people can get out of samadhi. They are not even doing any sitting and meditating. They're walking around doing something, but they are completely in the awake state, in the spiritual awareness state. That is, the spiritual awareness is no longer lost when engaging with the world. So even when they are engaging with the world, they are spiritually totally aware. Can that happen? Let us wait and see. Fourth stage is the wakeful samadhi turyavastha. So the result of the previous processes, supported by the grace of the Lord, will give you wakeful samadhi. This is known as turyavastha. And in this avastha, the yogis can be interacting with the world, but they will be completely in tune with Paramatma. This is explained in Suvipakva Yoga. If you look at the Bhagavata, Tasmad Yate Dadrishi Mangri Maghau Gamarsha Tirthaspadam Hridikritam Suvipakva Yogaihi Utsikta Bhakti Upahata Ashaya Jiva Koshaha Apur Bhavat Gati Mathanugrahana Bhaktan. Look at what it is in the 10th canto to 84th verse, 84th chapter, 26th verse. 10th canto, which is one of the important cantos. Here, what happened is great rishis such as Dvaipayana, Narada, Shavana, Devala, Asita, Vishwamitra, Shatananda, Bharadvaja, Gautama, Lord Parashurama himself and his disciples, Vasishta, Galava, Bhrigu, Maharshinam Bhriguraham. Krishna says Bhrigu is the best among Maharshis. Pulastya, Kashyapam, Atri, Markandeya, Brahaspati, Dvita, Trita, Ekata, and 4 Kumaras, and Angiras, Agastya, Yajnavalkya, and Vamadeva. They are all at Kurukshetra. After meeting Krishna, said this. These are the, you can get probably the, this is the best collection of the rishis. Okay. These people are saying, today we have directly seen your feet. They say it to Krishna there. This is in Kurukshetra. Today we have directly seen your feet, the source of the holy Ganges, which washes away volumes of sins. Perfected yogis, that is Suvipakva yogi, Suvipakva yogaihi, the perfected yogis can at best meditate upon your feet within their hearts, but only those who surrender to you, who render to you wholehearted devotional service, and in this way vanquish the soul's covering, the material mind, attain you as their final destination. Therefore, kindly show mercy to us, your devotees. Look at what is the mood of these great rishis. It's fully bhakti, devotion, and surrender. So, Sampath Iyengar again relates this to the Vinishpanna Samadhi explained in the Vishnu Purana. Parashara, who is the father of Vyasa, says this. That is in the book, book 6, chapter 7, verse 35. It says, Vinishpanna Samadhistu Muktim Tatraiva Janmani Apnoti Yoga Nirdagda Purva Karma Chayo Chirat. What does it mean? One who is in Vinishpanna Samadhi, he gets liberated in the same birth itself. With the fire of yoga burning all his karma, with the fire of yoga, all his karma will be burned right there in that birth, and he will directly go to moksha. Even Shadagopa, that is the Malvar, in the Tiruvalmoyi, which has 1102 verses, he states in the first section, 7th, 1, 7, 10, right? The reference 1 means there are 10 such chapters. They say Pattu. Modalavathu Pattu, that is first 10, 7 and 10, 7th and 10th verse, Tiruvalmoyi. What does it say? Agalil, Agalum, Anugil, Anugum, Pugalum, Pugalum, Ariyan, Poru, Allanemman, Nigaril, Avan, Pugai, Padi, Ilaipilam, Pahalum, Iravum, Padindu, Kudainde. What does it mean? For those who leave him, he will leave them too. This is an important point. Those who ignores God, God doesn't bother him either. He will run away, he will go away. For those who pursue him, he will mix with him freely. He is difficult to reach for those with ulterior motives, and at the same time, there are no obstacles to reach him for those who are surrendered to him. Being my master, for such great qualities, having none comparable to him, and having entered in me, mixing everywhere freely, I will sing his glories day and night without any break, and will never get tired of doing that. This is the verse of Nammalvar, who experiences Paramatma right there and talks about it. It is not that he is not reading out of a textbook. He realizes and talks. So the definition of Vidyā, the third type of Upāsanā, is the process of mental surrender. And that is given in the chapter 18, verse 62. I should have brought, referred to it somewhere here. I didn't do it. God becomes pleased by this act of surrender. And then the transition to Turiyavastha, the divine grace and the vigor. Yogi performs mental surrender in Vidyā. God blesses the yogi and God renders the Upāsanā vigorous. So the divine aid allows yogi to attain the fourth and the last stage of yoga, Turiyavastha. And the Turiyavastha, that is the final state, the yogi sees God in Archamurtis. Everywhere God, yogi can see God. This is how Nammalvar and the Ayvars went to different Divyadeshas and found the Archamurtis of Paramatma, who were discovered by rishis. For example, every divine, the 108 Divyadesham they say, 108 Divyadesham they say, right? In every Divyadesham, in a long time back, a rishi realized Paramatma in that. Saligotra Maharshi realized in Tiruvallur. In Tiruvallur, the Archamurti, it was realized by Saligotra Maharshi long time back. And the same Archamurti was realized by the Alvars and recognized. And then they saw God everywhere in these Archamurtis with the physical eye. So the purpose of life is direct vision. That is the highest good. And Sapatanga said that the self was made to enter life with intelligence as its associate quality, specifically for this purpose. Why did God give us intelligence? To make this intelligence vigorous, always aware, and not do any mistake, and then realize God all the time. So this stage sets the stage for the teacher's final instruction to the student. So we have finished Pratibodha Viditam Matam, Amṛtatvam hi vindate, Atmana vindate Vidyam, Vidyā vindate Amṛtam. Not bad. Within 1 hour, we completed the idea of what this verse is. I thought I would take 2 days for it. Somehow made it. Thanks. Now I can open this for any questions you may have.
Swami, in one of the slides, Amṛtatvam was referred to as the highest bliss.
Yeah.
Why? How are they translating or
Simple
calling?
thing. See, Amṛtam Amṛtatvam hi vindate, right? Pratibodha Viditam Amṛtam, Amṛtatvam hi vindate, right? So, see here, the first Amrta can be taken as Jīvātman or Paramatma, doesn't matter. Pratibodha Viditam Amṛtam means because of Pratibodha, God is known. Amrta is taken as God itself, doesn't matter. God is known. Amrta himself is God, right? Because Yoginam Amṛtam Sthanam, because he is the final resort to yogis. So if you take it as God, Amṛtatvam hi vindate means what is the nature of God? Blissfulness. So this Jīvātma gets blissfulness by knowing God. As simple as that.
So Pratibodha should be taken as Bhagavan's grace.
It should be taken as Bhagavan's grace. In a way, both the word Bodha is given there, right? It is a different kind of awareness, counter awareness given by God. Your awareness is what you do as Upāsanā, which goes through the three stages. That is Asamvit, Sambhūti, and Swatma Shariraka Paramatma Upāsanā. Or in other words, it is Achit Shariraka Paramatma Upāsanā, Chit Shariraka Paramatma Upāsanā, and Swatma Shariraka Paramatma Upāsanā. These are the three stages of the endeavor, effort done by a yogi in the process of Upāsanā. But even that, he needs the help of God. Without grace, nothing works. Without grace, you can't even focus your mind. Okay, that's given. So grace is there required even for the first three processes. But the final grace is even more important. The return awareness, the vigor in awareness is given by the grace of the Lord. So Prati is like a reflection. What do you call Pratiphala, or what is the reflection in Sanskrit? I'm forgetting. There is a word Prati for reflection also. So what it is your meditation will be rewarded by Paramatma with grace, and he gives vigor, and that will continue further and further, and he gets the Turiyavastha, which is the final stage.
Something like a reciprocation.
What?
Something like a
Reciprocation. Yes, there is a reciprocation there. Yes. See, this is the key in Viśiṣṭādvaita. Don't forget that you are not the controller. You get everything by yourself. See, in Advaita, even though they agree, in fact, it's very funny, or it's very interesting. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti is given very high prominence by Advaita, by even Śaṅkarāchārya. He says, in fact, I was reading that we have sent you that paper by S.S. Raghavacharya, Bhakti in Bhagavad Gita Bhashya of Śaṅkarāchārya, right? In that it says, Dadam is Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenamam Upayanti. I will give Buddhi Yoga so that the yogi will attain me. So there's a lot of things, what do you call, that is why Ishvara Anugraha Deva Vamsam Advaita Bhavana, only through the grace of the Lord one person can get Advaita realization. So these are all there in Śaṅkara Bhashya. But I think the post, many people are giving less. In the Upanishad Bhashya, Śaṅkarāchārya doesn't mention grace too often. A sort of, goes above it for some reason, here and there. Yeah.
The place of bhakti in Shankara's Bhagavad Gita Bhashya. The paper
that is the
shared.
place of bhakti in Śaṅkara Bhashya, that is S.S. Raghavachar's paper. I was reading it today itself. You should go through it again to see how clearly it is, Śaṅkarāchārya stresses bhakti. Unfortunately, it's also the influence of Buddhism in the past, and the Buddhists becoming Advaitins, and they constantly reinterpreting Advaita in a very dry manner without bhakti. That's all has happened in Advaita.
And in the Prakruts also. Yeah, please continue. In the Prakruts also.
Finish your
okay.
thoughts, yeah.
In the Prakruts as well, the Prati is meant as a replica, like a reflection.
Correct. Yeah. True. See, the Pratyupakara is very simple, right? That is, you do something and they do something else in return. That is Pratyupakara. So in something like this, yes. Any other question?
Yeah. So in Advaita, if grace is not given that much importance, to me, the grace I considered, like whenever you are mentioning, the probability of happening is unknown. That's the way I see. That is combined as we call it as grace. That is how I always felt. We cannot say do this, and this. It is going to happen. The probability of happen is unknown. So what do they replace it with, or how do they account for something like that? That probability of not happening.
See, one thing, it is not true in a way. Let me tell
Okay.
you why. See, think about Advaita. See, there are different kinds of Advaitins. Okay. Have you have you seen some works like what is that? Yoga Vasishta.
Okay.
Yoga Vasishta is one book, and
Okay.
Ashtavakra Gita.
Okay.
Ashtavakra Gita, Yoga Vasishta. Some of these are dry Advaitas.
Okay.
They devalue bhakti in those. And many of the
Okay.
Advaitins, some Advaitins follow that. But if you look at Śaṅkarāchārya, go to Śringeri's website and look at the pictures. Śaṅkarāchārya is always worshipping some Bharati Devi there, or Krishna, or Narasimha, or Shiva, or Ganesha, or some deity. He's always worshipping. Every day he worships. So the worship and bhakti is always there in certain Śaṅkara mathas.
Okay.
Śaṅkarāchārya had bhakti. So think from the originals. Śaṅkarāchārya's Bhagavad Gita Bhashya is unmistakably a bhakti work and a jnana work. He gives priority to jnana as a fruit. Jnana is his final fruit. But bhakti is given a lot of importance in Śaṅkara Bhashya. And some of the Śringeri Matha and couple of other mathas, they actually follow the worship. Even Swarnavalli Matha, which that is the Swami in Swarnavalli Matha, Swami, today's Swami, Gangadharendra Swami, is a disciple of K.S. Varadacharya. In his Matha, bhakti is given a lot of importance. There is, in fact, several deities, and Lakshmi Narasimha is also one deity there in the Swarnavalli Matha Ashrama.
Lakshmi Narasimha is the main deity, the primary deity of the Matha.
Primal is the prime deity, important main deity there in Swarnavalli Matha. So think how Advaita has different colors. Advaita is not one set, but the modern Advaitins, particularly the very modern ones, right?
Yeah.
There is a website called SAND, SAND. Oneness and Advaita Center or something like that. They're all modern. They don't want bhakti, much to do with bhakti. And they're deviating from Śaṅkarāchārya's own views. In fact, I had a very good conversation with, I should say, a great person, Paramananda Bharati, who is no more. Paramananda Bharati used to be a IIT Madras professor or something in physics. And he took sannyasa and he actually took sannyasa from Śringeri lineage, I think. But he became an independent sannyasi, I think. Okay. And he used to visit America and he knew physics very well. And I met him once in New Jersey. And we were talking and all. And he was saying, I was telling Paramananda Bharati, because I had a number of friends who were Advaitins and they were in Michigan. And they were telling me things like, why do you do karma? All this, activities, right? Activities like even doing Sandhya Vandana, daily activities, doing japa, tapa, or going to temples, worshipping. They were so caustic. What is really bhakti? They were say, bhakti andre eno? What is bhakti? Well, after all, they were talking bhakti in a very low way. Then what do you want to do? They were saying, worship is nothing. There is no Ishvara. Ishvara is unreal. For them, only Atma is there. Everything is based on Atman, that's all. There is nobody to worship. You are not even there to worship. Why worship? So these people went into that dry one end of Advaita. This is possible only in the highest level according to Śaṅkarāchārya, not in this body level. A person, if completely realized according to Śaṅkarāchārya, he cannot see anything than Brahman and everything disappears. That's not a very bad idea. You know why? Because the dhyana, even in dhyana, in meditation, if the meditation focuses on Brahman so much, that person cannot see anything else. Even when in the Sri Vaishnava theory, they say we go and see, go to Vaikuntha. There is a colorful Vaikuntha, doesn't matter, right? There you cannot see anything other than Brahman. You will not remember your past, what happened to you, why you failed in this, why you did not do well, what happened, somebody hurt you, somebody beat you up. Nothing of this is remembered. That means this is Maya only, right? Even according to Viśiṣṭādvaita, the past experiences of no value. We don't call it
Very
Maya,
true.
but it's no value.
Very true. Yeah.
What matters is only Brahman at that time, right?
Mhm.
So there is a lot of similarity between Advaita and Viśiṣṭādvaita. But the dry philosophers of Advaita, some of them, do not give any place of bhakti, any place to bhakti. And if you look at S.S. Raghavachar's that paper, which I uploaded, I think, recently also, you clearly know Śaṅkarāchārya is not a dry philosopher. He verily supported bhakti. How he prioritized jnana to bhakti. That's all. It's in that highest level, jnana and bhakti becomes almost one.
Mhm.
Paramanand Bharati's Vedanta Prabodha is very popular.
Oh yes, I know Paramananda. And Paramananda Bharati, I have to thank him because he taught me also. I was a student of him. I studied under him only for 7-8 days. Every day I used to come there. And he was so kind. He said, Krishna, why don't you become the continued teacher, because I'm leaving New Jersey and going back. And he said, you continue and teach these people. Then I myself, refused a little bit because I didn't want other people to think that I am from Viśiṣṭādvaita. At that time, I very strongly wished I was not even doing comparative study at that time. So I didn't want to teach anything. The other thing is, he says, I mentioned Nammalvar. You know what Paramananda Bharati said about Nammalvar? அவர் மாதிரி ஞானி இருக்க முடியுமா? So he said Nammalvar is one of the highest jnanis. And he even quoted from Tiruvāzhmozhi, quoted Tamil verses from Tiruvāzhmozhi, this Paramananda Bharati. So not everybody is a dry Advaitin. Lot of Advaitins cherish, respect, sincerely believe bhakti, in bhakti. And even Tyagaraja and other people, they were great bhaktas who are Advaitis. Madhusudana Saraswati is a bhakta and an Advaiti. So this is a modern perturbation of the original Śaṅkara view, which is very powerful nowadays because the Vivarana school, one of the portions of Advaitic school, the Vivarana school became a little bit pro-Buddhist. And the Padmapada, the other view, Vivarana school, and what is the other school?
Bhamati.
Bhamati view. The Bhamati became more Vaidika. And Bhamati supports the other aspects of bhakti more powerfully. So this is a change which occurred in Advaita, that too post Śaṅkarāchārya.
And Madhusudan Saraswati's Bhashya on Bhagavad Gita is heavily bhakti oriented.
Highly bhakti oriented, yes. He says, I would be rather a jackal in the Vrindavan where Krishna played than a Nirguna Brahmavadi, something like that, he says. He's so powerfully bhakti oriented.
Swami, how does Śaṅkarāchārya interpret this verse?
Which verse?
Pratibodha viditam madam. How does he?
See, he says, bodham bodham pratibodham. In every cognition, it's just a buddhi cognition. The bodha here for him is buddhi, right? In every intellectual cognition, you know that the real power behind is the witness, that is Atman. So whenever you are cognizing anything in the world, you're walking somewhere, you're doing something, you're working on a computer, you're playing or swimming, it doesn't matter. You have cognitions constantly coming to you, and that is being processed by your intellect. And in every cognition, you realize that the underlying Atman is the cause for everything. And you realize that the Nirguna Brahma is the real one, and all these things are of no value. So you cognize the inner power, inner Atman, who is untouched, unrelated, who is only the substance and the basis. Pratibodha viditam Amṛtam amritatvam hi vidyate. Their Amritatva is not about immortality, simply. Atmana vidyate vidyam, Vidyā vidyate Amṛtam. He gives some similar meaning there. I can, next time, tomorrow, I can bring Śaṅkarāchārya there and explain. We have already gone through this. I don't remember.
Because there he defines prati as every, is it? In relation
Yes.
to every cognition.
Prati has every cognition. Prati means pratidina, like every day.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there he doesn't use that as counter.
No,
as,
he does not
as
use
it
the
is.
counter. No, he does not. Bodha is used as buddhi there. Pratibodha is every cognition.
Bodha means awareness,
Yes.
right? For him.
Awareness.
Like
Here he takes it as cognition. Buddhi. That is a bodha as awareness is both more like Viśiṣṭādvaita. Bodha as cognition in every intellectual cognition, that is Advaitic view there.
This can apply even to Viśiṣṭādvaita, right? Even there, with respect to the Jīvātman, this can apply even there also. Then
it does not,
every
because in Viśiṣṭādvaita it is a yogic culture, Upāsanā related milestones, where Achit Sharirika, Atman, Paramatma, what you call Achit Sharirika, Paramatma, Swatma Sharirika, and all those things, they are spiritual realizations as milestones. In how, like Gita talks about Atma Avalokana, Atma Anubhuti, then Paramatma realization, then Paramatma Bhakti. All those things come up in Gita as successive chapters of information. So
No,
it
I
is
am not
not
referring to that.
exactly Pratibodha the way Śaṅkarāchārya says.
I am not trying to tell like that. I am just telling the natural way. Natural way, whenever we are cognizing now,
True.
behind
That
our
is now, whenever you are cognizing, you can see that Paramatma is making it happen. Paramatma is inner controller. Yes. That we can take the simple meaning. Yes, right.
Coincidentally, yesterday I think I was listening to KSV's lecture, the time, eternity, and Brahman.
Whose lecture?
So KSV's lecture.
Oh, okay. I got it. Okay.
So there is a topic where when it comes to, I think, the Putturajya. So there that word comes actually, Pratibodha. That particular episode comes, and you have actually mentioned that it is related to Kena Upaniṣad only. There it is
really?
related to.
What is the number of that lecture? You can send it through the internet to the Telegram channel. I will check it again.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes,
I
I
will
can hear you.
share. Yeah, I'll share that. I just got a phone call. I declined it. Anyway, I'll share that actually.
Okay, no problem. Anything else? Very good then. We'll continue tomorrow with short class, 45 minutes. Whatever I can prepare for the next verse, we will do it. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Sarva Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you so much.